Okay, so I'm going to briefly go through how to type in a function into the calculator and then graph it. So let's suppose we have f of x equals x squared minus 9 over x minus 3. Um, Now I apologize for this, but the only license I have for using a TI calculator at all, a graphing calculator, is a TI-84 plus CE. And I know that that's not going to be necessarily the same type of calculator that you're using. Like if you're using a TI-83, it's going to be a lot harder to type this in because it doesn't do auto formatting. So, like for example, if I wanted to type this into a TI-83, I'd have to do something like this. But we're going to see this a little bit nicer when we try to do this for a TI-84 plus CE. So let's go ahead and get to my calculator here. Okay. And then now, right, if I want to type in this function, I'm going to go over here to y equals, click on that. And then I can type in up to 9 different functions here, it looks like. Okay. So I'm going to type in for y1 over here, x squared minus 9 over x minus 3. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and put in open parentheses, right? And the reason I'm doing that is because I need my entire numerator to be in parentheses. Okay. So I'm going to do x squared minus 9 in there. This little button right over here that says link on it, um, this actually has all of your variables that you need. So if I wanted to type in an x, I could just click this. Okay. So I have x now. Okay. And I'm trying to square it. So there we go. That's a button that doesn't exist on the TI-83, right? So x squared minus 9, and then I close parentheses. That's my whole numerator. And I want to divide that by my entire denominator. So I'm going to open parentheses again. Okay, x minus 3. The parentheses are extremely important. Your calculator will not know what's in your numerator and what's in your denominator if you do not put those parentheses. Okay, but now I've typed in that function there. Okay, so let's go ahead and graph this. Okay, so if I want to graph it, I just click on the graph button over here, and then there we have it. Okay, now you might have a function like this on your, whatever online platform that you use for homeworks. Maybe it's MyLab Math or something like that, and their picture might look a little bit different than yours because it's scaled differently. Okay, so let's say that I wanted to just look at values for this function where x is between, let's say, -4 and 0, and y is between 0 and 3. Okay, so I can go to my window over here and I can change my settings. Okay, so I wanted my x to go from -4 to 0. So I'm going to let x min be -4 then. Okay, so here's my negative button, 4. Okay, and to delete that. Okay, and then my x max, I'm going to let that be 0. And now that I have my x's going from just -4 up to 0, my y's are going to go from -3. Sorry, it was 0 to +3 rather. So 0 to +3. Okay. And I won't change any other settings here, right? The other stuff does things, but I think this is good. Okay. Now let's look back at the graph again. And there we have it. So you can see your tick marks over here, x going from -4 up to 0, right? And then y going from 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. So you can play around with your window size however you want to rescale it to look like the pictures that you see in MyLab Math, right? Let's say you make a mistake and you don't know how to go back to the way it was originally. Fortunately, there's a button for that. So if we go to zoom, right, and we can just go to zoom standard, go down to number 6 here, press enter, right, and this goes back to our original settings from -10 to +10 in the x and -10 to +10 in the y. Okay. So that is how you can graph a function using your TI graphing calculator.